have a very somber vlog to do today. I hope that this gives you some solace to know that yes, your pet can die at home. It's not necessarily feeling probably, I don't want you to have a lot of anxiety and think that there's something else you could have done, because you couldn't have, neither could we. Try to make them as comfortable as possible and understand that dying is a process in life for all of us. And it's sad, but it's true that it happens. So I'm going to put a picture here of her, or maybe some that cut in a little bit of the video. Most of Georgie on here is still alive. Akiva and Buttercup, they're both passed on. I mean, we never get over the loss of our pets. So hi guys, it's Karen Singbeal. How are you? Thanks for stopping back to my channel. But you know what, I'm gonna do this because my cat would want me to do it, so that any of you out there that are exhibiting a cat that's near or close to dying, or that you don't really know if your cat's suffering, I want to help you understand what we just went through. So we have a 14-year-old cat. We have more than one, but this one's name was BB. And we got her, she was a feral cat from a barn here in the area where we are in the Shuswap. And this is the only home she's ever known. And we had her sister, and then BB had a sister named Wee Wee, and Wee Wee has two of her firstborn children, Rascal and Batcat, and we still have them. So we still have one of the sisters, which is Wee Wee, and then Rascal and Batcat. So the BB of all our cats, surprisingly, she was the strongest. Like they're long-haired cats, and you'd see her maybe if you look on like George's video or something. I think she was our one with the most personality. Like BB was the killer cat. I mean, she ripped the heads off mice, squirrels, shrews, birds. Like she was just, even though they were indoor, outdoor, they came into the laundry room, like that's where they live in the winter, through a tunnel. They come into our house. They're contained, and we've got like, you know, their cat beds, and everybody's got their own space, and their food and water's in there, and it's really warm. We have a heater in there for them. So it's like their cat den, and then they go in and out because they are, like I said, they were barn cats. So they are ferals, but they're somewhat tame. But anyway, about 10 days ago, BB was still eating mice, or, you know, I'd find their guts in the laundry room because they love to bring in these little treats, and ripping the heads off. And like there was like a mouse head on the floor when I walk in. I'm like, BB, why do you always do this to me? And I went to grab it, and like she grabbed it and ate it, like crunch, crunch, crunch. And so that was typically her. So, you know, everything, she seemed normal. But then within like a couple days, she was like still killing, but like puking a lot of that back up. And I'm like, oh God, like, and I don't really put out poison outside because we're big animal lovers. So I knew it wasn't like she ate some poison mouse, because we don't do that. So I picked her up, and I was shocked how frail she was. Like like I said, they were always, Rascal and Batcat are bigger, meatier cats. They're both boys, but BB and Wee Wee, even though they have a lot of fur, they're very small cats, but just vicious. If I was 2 inches tall, they'd eat me. So anyway, I pick her up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like she's lost weight. And then I went and picked up Wee Wee as a comparison, and I'm like, okay, she's a lot smaller than Wee Wee. And so that was like my first sign. Okay, puking, picked her up, and noticed that her weight seemed to be a lot smaller, but her attitude and going in and out and eating and drinking still the same. Then over the next couple days, she would eat some of her dry cat food. My cats eat dry cat food. And then she would be puking it up. But not like once a day. It would be like 3 times a day. And I'm like, okay, this isn't right. Friday, we took her to the vet. Got in there. So today's Thursday now. So Friday, we took her to the vet. He wasn't sure. He took blood test. He said it could be that stage 4, the kidney failure that they get, but the vet wasn't sure. We're like, listen, if she's suffering, like, we don't want this cat to be suffering. He's like, there's no way for me to know unless I do this blood test. So we're like, of course, do the blood test. Can we take her home? He's like, oh yeah, by all means. He had us bring her home, and she was also on some medication, but it was just for the nausea and the vomiting, and you like half a pill. But to be able to get a pill in a cat, like, you have to open their mouth, like stick it in there, and then like hold their throat and go like that so they'll swallow it. It's not a pleasant thing to have to do. And we, of course, felt bad because, you know, you don't want to torture your cat, especially if she's in her last stage of living. But we weren't sure because we've had other cats that have gotten sick and gotten skinny and then gotten better. We've had ferals that have come into our acreage. We've fed, they got healthy, and then they moved on. Like, it's just, you don't know. So I've been searching on the internet to help me. Like, how do I know if my cat is suffering? So it says the behavior signs are like reduced appetite, definitely had, lethargic. She, over the day's progression, she definitely started to have that more. Decreased interest in positive things. Pretty much she quit going outside at all. So I just got a big comforter blanket and put it in the laundry room by the heater that we have. And she, about the last 4 days, never went outside. And she's been just peeing and different, like sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller, once a day. And then I would wash the blanket and then put it back because there was no way, like, we don't have a litter box. Our cats, like I said, go inside, outside, and they go outside in the wild. And then there was one tendency that I noticed that you should pay especially attention to. If they're hunched up like this, like in yoga pose, downward dog with their back, that means that they're not feeling well. If their head's down a lot, because a lot of cats will crouch, but if they crouch and their paws are cold to the touch and they're having like increased heart, that is maybe their organ failure and they're trying to keep warm because there's not as much blood getting to their heart. A lot of cats, it says online, go and hide and try to die. And we've had that over the years. We've had other feral cats that have just gone away and we never saw them again, and they were older and I'm sure they just passed away and maybe the wildlife got them. Then if they, like, she was purring to the end, you guys, last night. Like, Bruce and I knew last night was going to be our last night. 100%. She started laying on her side. She just seemed the most no energy, but she would get up because we'd go check on her like every hour, and she's in there with her other cats. So in a comfort zone, she would still drink a little bit of water, but not much. And she would move around to different spots in the laundry room. But her eyes, you guys, started glazing over, and she just looked like she was like this in a far off distance. And I knew, and Bruce went up there too, and we knew it was probably within hours that she wasn't going to make it. And then towards the very end, she had like labored breathing. Like, she was still purring though. I want you to know, at no time did I feel like, oh, you know, there's something else we can do. You just comfort them and be with them. And she would like take her paw and go like that to me. Like she knew that that I was there, and I'd see her tail go a little, and I'd pet her, and it was okay. Like, it's like, death is a normal part of process, but she knew and I knew and the other cats knew that the time was close and she was going to pass. But I didn't feel like she was in a lot of pain. And when I read online, like, a cat that's in a lot of pain will like scream and cry, and like you would think of a person in agony. And at no time did BB have any of those symptoms. She wasn't doing like loud vocalization or anything, or she wasn't snapping or increased irritability. Like, then I would think if they were meowing and groaning, hissing, then but I mean, naturally, I think that her system was shutting down, and, we would pick her up, Bruce and I would pick her up, and I'd rock her like a baby and talk to her and kiss her and, then set her back down. But we knew it, and I don't know, like, it, we didn't know on Friday, and like yesterday was Veterans Day, Remembrance Day, so the vet, of course, hasn't even called us back with the lab results anyway yet, and we were only there on Friday. But if we would have told the vet to put her down on Friday, would he have? But he wanted to, and we wanted to make sure that the cat was not going to make it, of course, because why? You don't unnecessarily want to put down your animals. So I want you to know that she did die with her eyes open, and you could just see the gauntness in her face. Like, I would pet her, like she was thin. And the vet said that this is more common than you realize, you guys, that by the time we realize they're in a later stage, because, you don't pick up necessarily or notice the changes when you live with them. So just be aware of that, there could be something going on that you're not aware of, and don't blame yourself if that is happening. I think the best thing is to do what we did, is take them to the vet, let the professional make the diagnosis, and then you with your family decide what to do after that. So, I mean, we've had her from a kitten, and so, it's no matter how old you get, no matter how many pets you have, any animal lover will tell you that the pain is the same of the heartbreak of an animal, unfortunately. I just want to make sure that I cover everything that I was searching on for all of you cat lovers out there, because I was just searching and searching for days, wanting to know anything that I could know. And the biggest thing is like the cats purring when they're dying. Yes, they do. Mine purred to the end, and then, like I said, I could hear a little bit in her throat, the labored breathing, and I knew probably all her organs. No, she did not poop after probably the last 4 days. She just peed, so she did not poop at all anymore. But she wasn't eating. She didn't eat. And usually when the cats would get really close to each other, sometimes, cats are pretty territorial, or they all have their own space. They would walk literally up to her and smell her when she was just lying there on her side. And I felt it would be very unnecessary for me to film any of this to show you. I thought it would it would hurt my heart too much to do that. And I don't think it would help accomplish anything of what I'm trying to get across to all of you. I want to give you comfort and solace, because that's what I was looking for. So, they will have the lower body temperature. They'll try to be more heat. as the heart weakens, their body temperature drops. I never took her temperature, guys. We knew in the last couple days, if you're, just knowing your pet, you can tell. She would sometimes look at me and go like she was talking to me like, they do. Probably up until the last day. Like I said yesterday, I spent the majority of the day with her, and she would just do that push back on my finger, even in her weak and dying state. And then people ask, how long is it going to take for your cat to die? Like, I think that within 3 days, probably realistically, she was having a little bit of water, but she didn't have any food. So probably if you start to notice a lot, heavy lethargic, not eating at all, and not moving around a lot, and that glazed over eye, and it just seems like a weaker person, even though it's a pet, you're pretty close to losing them. Thanks for popping in, guys. I'm Karen Singh BL. And if you leave any comments regarding questions that you have specific to your cat, I can only, I'm not a vet, but I can only go by my experience from just living through it, me and Bruce's experience of just living through our cat passing. And, I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. Thanks, guys. Take care.